2 losses in a row. I've been brought in to manage this team, and our first 2 games are 2 losses in a row. What am I doing wrong? What am I missing? Who's that? Come in!
Excuse me, boss. I'd like to have a word with you.
Oh, sure. Come in, take a seat.
No, thank you. I think I'd prefer to stand if that's all the same to you.
Sure, I guess. What did you want to talk about?
Well, I just firstly wanted to apologize for my appalling behavior the other day. I was so passionate about the match that I ended up taking it out on my teammates. I've already issued a formal apology to them, but I thought I best apologize to you as well. My stint sitting on the bench last week didn't exactly make me very happy, and I would very much like to be put into consideration for the game next week.
I don't know, Spectrier. I mean, you were pretty bad to your teammates last time out, and it hasn't been that long since that game, so how can you prove to me that you've actually changed your attitude?
Well, I'm glad that you asked. Ever since our last little debacle, where I was very, very harsh on my teammates, I've decided it's time for me to go and hit the gym to do some solo training. I've been in the gym day and night, 4 hours at a pop, in order to try and make myself the best physical specimen that I could possibly be.
You? In the gym? I'm sorry, I really can't believe that.
What do you mean you can't believe it? Just look at my fucking legs. I look like an Olympic swimmer. I mean, I can't even wear trousers anymore. They just burst off of me.
I mean, you just don't seem like the type to be in the gym.
But what about this picture of me training on a treadmill in the gym? This isn't photoshopped, you know. See? There I am, right next to the lady in pink.
I mean, isn't that your brother Glastrier?
Don't mention that name in front of me, you swine, or I'll smite you down where you stand. Sorry. He's a little bit of a sore subject in my family. We never really spoke again after the camping trip of '92. All those eels.
Okay, then.
How is it going, guys? My name is Onesie and welcome back to the UPBA. Now, this time is week 4, and we are up against Sally Mumble, and they have a very, very difficult team. You will see exactly what they could have potentially have brought for this match on screen right now. But before we get to any kind of analysis, before we get into the game, I am going to ask you guys a huge favour. If you guys could go down and click that like button and hit that bell button, do all of that good stuff. And if you don't, I will go and physically punch you in the throat. So yeah, unless you want to get physically assaulted, click that like button. And if you do want to get physically assaulted, I might just come and do it anyway, so click it anyway. But yes, this week we're up against Sally Mumble, and they have a very, very difficult team. As you can see by the team on screen now, they have a lot of threats, including a Salamence, a Horlucha, a Tapu Bulu, a Heatran, lots of really powerful things that can kind of just mess me up. So I had to prep very, very carefully for this match. So a quick overview of what I've decided to bring. We're going to run down what's on the screen at the moment. We have a Swampert here with Choice Scarf. And that Choice Scarf Swampert actually is Earthquake, Flip Turn, Ice Punch, Sludge Wave. Enough to basically hurt everything on the team and hit everything for super effective damage, except for the Miltank and some of the other defensive threats. But it basically had enough coverage to deal significant damage and outspeed a big majority of the opponent's team. Flip Turn is really great for momentum, just forcing switches, and I could potentially outspeed and catch the Tapu Bulu with a Sludge Wave, dealing massive damage to it, potentially taking it out later on. I figured this was the best set to go. It can switch into Lantern and basically pull off momentum gaining switches just from that. So that just seemed like the best Swampert to bring this week. I could have gone physically defensive, but I felt like it just wouldn't have been able to beat Horlucha, and there was too much on my opponent's team that was able to take advantage of it. So I can catch things off guard with Choice Scarf Earthquakes, Choice Scarf Flip Turns, and Swampert seems to be a good choice here. I've also gone with Choice Band Urshifu because it likes to hit hard. We've gone with a really fun Spectrier set this week. We've got Substitute, Nasty Plot, Dark Pulse, Shadow Ball. Now this one was a really interesting set because I've ran max HP, 96 defense, and enough speed to outspeed everything on my opponent's team except for a boosted Horlucha. So an unburdened Horlucha. And the reason for this is because I can actually get substitutes up, unbroken substitutes against quite a lot of my opponent's team, including the Miltank and including the Lantern, and a couple of the other defensive threats as well. For example, a lot of Pokemon try to Toxic or Thunder Wave Spectrier because they think that it can, just stop it, but that's not how that works. Spectrier is fine. Spectrier will be able to get substitutes up and hold them and potentially set up. We've got no special attack investment because Nasty Plot and Grimnay are going to be all we need to steamroller through this team. If we can just get one set up and get a little bit of chip on everything, Spectrier should be able to really run riot through this team. We've gone with a Focus Sash, Stealth Rock, Metal Burst, Mawile. This was initially decided to be my lead, but a couple of the mons I expected to show up didn't show up. So we've kind of had to hold that back, and as you can see, I'm not going to lead with it. We've also gone with a Choice Scarf Magnezone because, once again, Scarf things do really well against my opponent's team. Magnezone doesn't like Lantern because, let's face it, who does like Lantern? But if we can get that Lantern out of the way, we can potentially do some things and just really keep some momentum and catch things off guard with it. So Magnezone could be a really useful mon here. And finally, we've gone with a physically defensive Slowbro. So Slowbro making its debut for us this week. Slowbro I really, really like because Regenerator mons are just fantastic, and I really, really appreciate what they bring to the table. Now, this Slowbro is max special defense with enough special attack to one-shot a Hawlucha and live a +2 acrobatics and a throat chop from it. So we can switch in, take a hit, and just respond with big damage on our part. So yeah, I figured that this was the only way that I would be able to hold back the Hawlucha onslaught if that's how the game ended up going, and that's exactly what we did. So without further ado, let's get into it, and let's see what happened when we took on Salimumble and their team this week. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So, yeah, I decided to lead with Swampert this week because Swampert had a really good matchup against every single mon on my opponent's team. And they are going to lead with the Salamence. Now, the Salamence is going to reveal to us right now that it has Intimidate. Intimidate shows me that this thing's probably a bit more bulky. You don't tend to see the bulkier sets Intimidate on more offensive sets, sorry. So that kind of showed me that it was going to be a bulky Salamence. So I was in two minds here. I figured it's not going to want to stay in against me because I could do more to it than it could do to me. But I wasn't sure if it wanted to stay in and try and Toxic me for later on so that it could wear me down. So I was going to click Sludge Wave. I was so close to clicking Sludge Wave, but I decided against it. And we decided to click the Ice Punch. And they are going to pull the switch out into Tapu Bulu, which is going to take this Ice Punch very, very nicely. It's going to do about a third, and it's going to get the Grassy Surge up, and then we're in trouble. So we go for the Ice Punch. Does about a third, and it reveals that it's not got leftovers, it's just Grassy Surge. So that's going to be a bit of a problem. Right here, I am going to pull the switch out into Mawile because Mawile right now can intimidate this thing, it can live a hit. And yeah, I don't really want to stay in against the Tapu Bulu with a Choice Scarf Swampert that's locked into Ice Punch. So we are going to get the Intimidate drop on it, which is quite nice. Stop it from kind of just smashing us. But it is going to predict that and go for the high horsepower. So that's a really, really nice prediction there from my opponent. And they're going to get some more HP back. And now we're in a bit of a problem. So right now, I'm actually going to pull a really aggressive switch out into my Spectrier. And I was really kind of struggling because I didn't really have much of a switch into this thing besides Slowbro, and Slowbro doesn't really want to be taking too much of too many attacks. But I figured that they wouldn't want to try and go against my Slowbro at -1 attack from the Intimidate. So I was hoping to try and catch their switch into this off guard. So I thought if I can just get Spectrier in on a completely wild switch in, I can set up some subs and start really wrecking havoc. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go and pull the switch out into Spectrier as, yeah, we're going to wait. I'm not going to get too ahead of myself because doing these post-coms is quite funny. You can see me going backwards and forwards, not knowing what to do. But we are eventually going to do it. We're going to click the Spectrier switch. God, post-coms are so annoying in Sword and Shield because we've got no replay function. Oh, God. But yeah, they are going to pull the switch out into Lantern. And Lantern is one of the few things I actually wanted Spectrier to be in against. I thought about pulling the hard switch out into Swampert because I could catch any Volt Switch that thing wanted to do. But I decided against it, and I decided to just click the Substitute because Substitute does wonders for me here. And I've got leftovers, and the Grassy Surge is up, so if at worst they manage to break my sub, I've not really lost anything. All I've done is revealed my set, and I've got a bunch of health back. But they are going to go for Discharge, which isn't going to destroy my sub. So the HP investment that I put onto this thing really coming in clutch right now. We're going to get a bunch of health back because of the Grassy Surge and the leftovers, and we're going to be able to click Nasty Plot. And this is where the fun begins, because Spectrier is a bit of a monster, you know. I've also managed to EV this thing enough so that it can take a discharge, it can take a volt switch, it can take any attack from Miltank, so we're going to have opportunities to set up again, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, I'm here wondering what on earth they're going to switch into, because I'm not sure what exactly they have that wants to come in right now. I thought maybe they want to go into Miltank, but I wasn't sure. And they actually reveal they're going to go out into the Heatran, and there is a reason for this, which you are going to see in a minute. Right now, I'm just going to go and click, right off the bat, I'm going to click Shadow Ball, because I just want damage on Heatran. It's a monster. I hate this Pokemon so much. It really needs to crawl back into the volcano it came out from. It's been at the top for way too long. I can't deal with Heatran anymore. And I figured getting damage on this thing would be really good for me later on, because it puts it in flip turn range, it puts it in range of a lot of my different attacks. And we are going to outspeed and go for Shadow Ball, which is going to do a lot of damage. Not quite going to pick up the Oko, and it's going to reveal Eruption. Now, the problem that my opponent had is that they did not realise that Max Speed Spectrier outspeeds Scarf Heatran, which is a problem for them, because they are actually a Scarf Eruption Heatran, and they didn't realise that. So they've just allowed me to get a bunch of damage off on that Heatran, and get another sub up now, as they go into Miltank. I'm going to click the sub here, and that's amazing for me, because this is another thing that I also EV'd against. I've put 92 EVs into defense so that Miltank can't mess with me, really. It can't break my sub in one hit with Play Rough. It doesn't get many dark moves, which I like. It gets Gyro Ball, but Miltank's fairly fast, so unless it was running like Brave, it wouldn't be able to break my sub. So Dark Pulse is easily going to 2-hit KO at +2, which is fantastic, and it's going to go for Play Rough, which, as you're going to see, doesn't break my sub. So Spectrier out here just doing bits right now, absolutely loving life, sat behind a sub at +2, and yeah, we're just going to click Dark Pulse again, because they don't have a switch into this thing. They straight up do not have a switch in. They revealed to me after the game they did have a switch in, and you're about to see what that is. So you can see them really struggling and taking their time. They're going to withdraw and go out into Lucky the Lantern. And we're going to see that this thing right now is actually Assault Vested, because this Dark Pulse right now does like nothing. Now that's a +2 Dark Pulse from a base 145 Mon. Granted, it's got no EVs in special attack, and it's not modest, but still, that doesn't do anywhere near enough. So I'm going to go for Shadow Ball right now, because it's going to do a bunch of damage. It's absolutely massive, absolutely massive. But yeah, this thing's going to take it quite well, because, as we said, it's Assault Vested. So I'm going to go for Shadow Ball. So bonk, bonk, bonk. Really going to chunk this thing down. Assault Vest Lantern takes hits like a champ. And they're going to go for Volt Switch, which, combined with the Play Rough damage from earlier, is going to break my sub. And they're going to get a free switch out to something of their choice, which is pretty good for them, really, isn't it? So, we're looking quite good at this point in the match. We have a +2 Spectrier that can set up substitutes on his 2 defensive cores and get a lot of damage off that way. We have basically our entire team undamaged at this point, and if the Tapu Bulu wants to come in, Spectrier gets a bunch of health back from leftovers plus Grassy Surge, so we're looking quite pretty right now. The end game for me at this point is just to try and keep putting damage out, keep putting pressure on with my Spectrier, and just try and weaken things as much as possible. So I do have an end game here, which is really, really nice. We're looking really good. They're going to bring back the Grassy Surge for me, which is fantastic because now we're basically back up at full. Like, we're nearly up at full. One more turn of attacking and we would be. But at this point, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what set this Tapu Bulu was. I wasn't quite sure whether it was banded or not, and I'm gonna put this down to the fact that I couldn't do calcs during game because I didn't realise that it wasn't banded due to the Mawile damage. I didn't realise that this Mawile wasn't physically defensive, it was actually physically offensive. And I brought a set that could just do damage to whatever wanted to show up turn 1. So my high horsepower damage should have revealed to me that it wasn't banded, but I wasn't sure. So I switched out. I'm pretty sure that wood hammer would have taken me out anyway. I mean, look at the damage it does to my Slowbro, who's physically defensive. Like, that's massive, massive damage. Excuse me. And Slowbro is going to get some HP back off of that, which is quite nice. But I don't think this thing's going to want to stay in and take a hit from me. I think this thing is just going to, you know, it's not going to want to take a Shell Sidearm. Fun fact, I brought Shell Sidearm because they had a lot of things that were more specially bulky. And Shell Sidearm would be able to do more damage to those. It was quite fun calcing. I do quite enjoy using Slowbro and doing calcs with it because Shell Sidearm throws people for a loop, which is fantastic. But yes, Tapu Bulu up against my my boy right here. I didn't think it was going to want to stay in on my Slowbro. I genuinely didn't think it was going to want to. So I'm going to pull the switch out here. And we're going to go right out into Magnezone, I believe. And the problem with this is that it's now going to reveal that it does actually have the ability to switch up moves. And high horsepower is going to destroy Magnezone, so Damiani over here is not going to take that at all. And we are now down 6-5 because of this thing clicking high horsepower against a Slowbro that took it really, really well. So yeah, now we're in trouble. We are going to click, we are actually going right here to go out into my Urshifu because they're going to think that I have Poison Jab and they're not going to want to take anything from that. They're not going to want to stay in around that. And we are going to click the U-turn. But you can see me here. I'm moving up and down. I'm really not sure what I'm going to go into. I do eventually settle for Urshifu. And I was really kind of thrown for a loop because I really thought this thing was banded, but it wasn't. And that is a problem because this thing has coverage for basically everything now. I could catch it off guard with Swampert, but I didn't want to reveal my Scarf Sludge Wave just yet. I wanted to try and catch them off guard with it, and if I had some counters, I might as well go into them. So yeah, Urshifu's out, and we're going to take a little bit of time here just thinking about what we want to do, because in an ideal world, they stay in here and let me Poison Jab them, but I don't feel like they're going to do that. I feel like they're going to want to preserve this thing as long as they can, and they're going to go out into the, the Salamence. My god. I'm bad with Pokemon names, man. So we're going to click the U-turn, which is going to get a little bit of chip off on the Salamence. Quite a nice amount, if I do say so myself. It's going to be enough to, yeah, kind of put it in range of some attacks for later on, which is quite nice. And now we basically just get to choose what we want to go into. I am going to settle for Mawile, because I figured now's the time to see what this thing's coverage option is for me. I figured it would probably have Dual Wing Beat, Roost, Toxic, and potentially Wish. Or potentially Heal Bell, because I know this thing does get Heal Bell. Does it? I don't know. I don't know, man. I thought it did. But yeah, we're going to see what this thing's coverage options actually are. I'm going to try and get the Stealth Rock up because, you know, being able to mitigate the Grassy Surge recovery is fantastic for me, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. And we are going to eventually, when my opponent decides to actually click their move, we are going to see that this thing is carrying Flamethrower. So my Mawile is not going to want to take that at all, and it's going to go down, and we're now 6-4 down. Now in the game, IRL, like at the time, I was getting quite frustrated, and I just thought, you know what, screw it. Screw it, there's nothing else I can do. I might as well just go out into Spec and set up a nasty plot and just do some damage to things. And that's pretty much exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to go out into Spec. We know that this thing can't really hurt us. So If it's defensive as it says, we've got substitute, we can click that, and that's pretty much exactly what we're going to do. If this thing wants to toxic me, it's going to get blocked. If it wants to door wing beat me, we can see how much investment it really has. We click the substitute right now, and we are going to get that up. And they're going to click door wing beat, which does hit, hits once, hits twice, and breaks my sub. So it's not completely uninvested. It's not brave with 0 IVs in case of foul plays. So that's quite nice. It means that it won't be able to take hits as well as it could. But we have no reason right now to expect that thing to be a big problem. I am panicking a little bit because I'm like, okay, we've thrown away our substitute +2 Spectrier earlier. I don't really want to do it again. So I'm going to make the hard switch out into Slowbro to see what this thing wants to do. Probably go for door wing beat again, if being totally honest. But they're actually going to go for the door wing beat, which does absolutely nothing. But it does kind of give me information that this thing, it can't touch my Slowbro. Flamethrower will do nothing. Door wing beat, as you've seen, does absolutely nothing. So we're all good at the moment, and we just get to click whatever move we want to click. So we're feeling pretty good about ourselves. Can we just take a moment to appreciate how awesome Slowbro Galar is? Like, it just looks adorable, and they've given it such cute animations. It's just awesome. I'm in the Slowbro Galar fan club, man. I love this thing. So they're going to withdraw this thing and go out into Majestic, who happens to be a Miltank. And they're going to click... I'm going to click Psychic, which isn't going to kill it. Unfortunately, it's not quite going to get the job done. And at this point, I considered going for Shell Sidearm, but I figured it's probably going for Milk Drink. And if it's going for Milk Drink, I can set up a sub against it pretty freely. He's going to want to keep this thing around. And they are going to click Milk Drink. And we're going to click out into Spectrier. Roots is going to come out. And they are going to click the Milk Drink. So this gives me a fantastic opportunity to set up another substitute and get the train rolling again. I feel like I have to go for game at some point. I have to try and just go for the game. We have leftovers recovery keeping us safe. We have enough defense to be able to take hits from this thing. They have to basically pick a sack at this point. So yeah, we're gonna go straight for that substitute because why not? What exactly are they gonna do? They can go out into Salamence and door wing beat me. Fine, I get a free nasty plot. So the substitute is gonna come out, and they're going to withdraw and go straight out into the man, the myth, the legend that is Breaker. This freaking Tapu Bulu, man, it's a double-edged sword. It offensively pressures everything on my team, but does give me massive boosts of recovery with my Spectrier. So that's kind of nice. They're going to get the terrain up, and we're going to get some recovery to mitigate that. We basically get a choice now. Do we just attack this thing and try and do some damage to chip it for later? Or do we switch? Or do we try and go for game? I wasn't sure about this thing's HP investment, so clicking Nasty Plot right now and just trying to kill it would have been a big risk. Because as we've seen, we were unable to take out the Heatran, we were unable to take out the Miltank with 2 hits, so we're just going to click Shadow Ball, just kind of discern how much damage we'd have done. Shadow Ball is going to actually do enough to 2-hit KO it, so clicking Nasty Plot right there would have been fine. They're going to go for the high horsepower, which is going to break my sub, which is absolutely amazing. Because, yeah, we didn't want a sub anyway. Who wants a little doll sitting on the battlefield? No one cares. It's amazing for them, it's not amazing for me. But yeah, Spectrier is fine right now. Now, I have a problem here, and that problem is there is a Hawlucha in the back. And I'm trying to get rid of terrain for that thing. Because if that thing comes in on the terrain, it gets the unburden off, and then it becomes a big problem to me. So I'm actually just going to click substitute again, knowing that I probably can't take it out with this Shadow Ball or the next. But if I go for Shadow Ball, if this thing wants to attack me now, it's going to lose its terrain. And I'm happy to just kind of lose terrain and see what this thing wants to do. Like, if I can stall out terrain turns, Hawlucha can't come in. if I can break this thing down, Hawlucha doesn't get its, it doesn't get its unburden boost. So we're just going to keep clicking substitute until this thing disappears. But this turn we decided to click Shadow Ball because I figured it's going to keep going for higher horsepower. It's not going to want to keep, it's not going to want to go for anything else. If it went for Wood Hammer there, probably would have killed me, but I was still unsure of its full set at the time. And we are going to get enough HP to put us back into another sub-range, which is absolutely fantastic. They realise at this point that grassy terrain ends this turn. If I kill them here, I outspeed Hawlucha, and I outspeed basically the rest of their team. And as you can see, I'm looking at it. So killing this thing here would be my optimal play. But I figure they're going to save this thing. So I'm actually just going to click the substitute, because I don't think that they're going to sacrifice this thing. They're either going to switch out into Miltank. Oh, I clicked the Dark Pulse. My god, it's been a while since I've played this game. Oh my lord. Okay, so we are going to click the Dark Pulse. And the reason we clicked the Dark Pulse is because we think the Miltank is going to come out right now. Dark Pulse kills this thing from where it's at. They are going to withdraw because they want to keep the terrain around. They're going to go out into Lucky the Lantern, which is a bit of a problem. Because, remember, this thing is Assault Vest, and my Dark Pulse is going to do negligible damage, like literally nothing. Oh my lord. But yeah, we're going to get 2 lots of recovery back. We're going to be able to get a substitute up against this thing. And it should potentially be enough to allow us to set up one last time and hopefully win through it. So we click the substitute. I figure they're going for Volt Switch here because they want to try and get themselves out into something that can deal with me. They know that they can't break my sub with one attack, and they might as well go out into something that can. So they are going to go for the Volt Switch, and they're going to Volt Switch out into Salamence, because Dual Wing Beat should be able to do quite a bit of damage. Not enough to pick me off, but enough to put me at enough damage, basically, that whatever next wants to come in can just come in and just pick me off, really. Because, as you're going to see, I don't think one hit of Dual Wing Beat from this defensive Salamence would be enough to do 55 points of damage. So we are going to take this opportunity to click the Nasty Plot. We kind of have to just go for it at this point. There's no point attacking. We might as well just go for Nasty Plot and try and just burst this thing down. This thing's probably physically defensive to switch into CC from my Urshifu, so it's probably not got any kind of special defense investment, and if it does, it's probably minuscule. So it is going to go for the Dual Wing Beat, and it's actually going to miss. Now this opens up a huge opportunity for me, and basically if I just click my moves correctly, we win. Shadow Ball here should be able to take this thing out, and if it doesn't, we are actually not in too bad of a position. Because if Hawlucha wants to come in and outspeed, if Tapu Bulu wants to come in to set the grassy terrain back up, we're amazing. Like, we're fine. That crit there, by the way, didn't really matter. We did calc it after the game. It was a very heavy roll in my favour. +2 with a little bit of chip. We figured that it was on like 92%. And the min damage I could have done was 90%. So it was a heavy roll in my favour to kill. But yeah, at this point, even if the Dual Wing Beat had hit, they'd have to go out into Tapu Bulu and set up the terrain again, which I would then kill. I have an answer to Hawlucha, so I would get some health back, and I'd kill 2 Pokemon and be able to go out, and I'd still have a chance to set up again. Now, this Miltank comes out. We're at +3. I'm wondering, does this kill? And we're going to find out that it does. So, Spectrier is now at +4. It's fully set up all the way. We actually land 2 back-to-back crits, which neither of them really mattered. The one on Salamence kind of did, but I feel like I was probably in a position to win the game at that point anyway. But that's kind of wild. 2 crits and a miss back-to-back. Like, you saw what happened last week and the week before with my hacks, with the Volcarona miss and the paralyzes and just all kinds of madness happening. We saw all that, and this week, the Hacks gods are in my favour. So, Breaker's going to come out. The Tapu Bulu. It's going to set up the terrain again, which, honestly, I don't mind. You give me some health back, even if you could live a hit. I think it's over at this point. So Spectrier is now going to get to click whatever the hell it wants, really. So we're going to click Shadow Ball. They no longer have a resistance. They no longer have a immunity to it. So why not, you know? Shadow Ball comes out. Bop. This thing goes down. And Spectrier is now going to have enough to clean through the rest of his team and give us a 4-0 victory. That is exactly the comeback we needed from last week. I am buzzed with this. Absolutely amazed that we've been able to get this done. And I am absolutely over the moon right now. So, yeah. GG to my opponent. You prepped very well. I feel like my Spectrier calcs were what really won me this game, because if I decided to put a bit of damage on and put a bit of investment into special attack, I wouldn't have had enough defense or HP to take hits from Lantern and Miltank. So I think that's what really did it for me this week. And I'm really happy and kind of delighted with myself, really. Spectrier out here taking souls, and after its stint on the bench last week, after its stint not being in the team, returns with aplomb, which is fantastic. So, yeah, we're absolutely buzzed for this one. I'm really happy with the way this match went, and I can't wait for the next week. So, GG to my opponent. Thank you all very, very much for watching. Next week, we're up against Lux and his Hangzhou Sparkling Aria. So, that's pretty damn awesome, and I can't wait to play it. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. I'm just going to let the sweep happen, and we'll see you in the next one. So enjoy the rest of your day, have a good one, look after each other, look after yourselves, and until next time, see you later, guys. Bye bye.